attorney and social justice champion George Fothery, the man who helped make history by delivering justice to the Bruce family in Manhattan Beach, securing the first known return of land unjustly taken from black owners by a local government. That victory was monumental, but it was just the beginning. For generations, black families have acquired land through grit, faith, and determination, only to lose it through violence, legal loopholes, forced sales, and systematic racism. What's been taken goes far beyond dirt and deeds. It's the erasure of wealth, identity, and legacy. That's why we've launched the Black Land Loss Narrative Archive Project, a national effort to collect, protect, and preserve the stories of black land loss before they're buried, forgotten, or erased altogether. Because there's power in telling black stories, there is resistance in remembering, and there's justice in being seen and heard. This is where you come in. We're inviting you to be a part of this historic Black Narrative Archive. If you or someone you know has experienced land loss, displacement, or forced property sales, your story deserves to be heard and remembered. Your story belongs in this archive. Your truth matters not just to your family, but to our collective future. Visit blacklandloss.org today. Fill out our simple intake form and add your voice to the National Archive of Remembrance, Resilience, and Reckoning. Let's make these stories live on, not in whispers, but on the record. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me. Back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley, and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavissmileyshow.com. That's thetavissmileyshow.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. It is Monday, so it's Smiley and West to kick off the second hour. Lots to unpack with Dr. Cornel West 1 hour from now. On the B side of Hour 2, is Donald Trump's crackdown on flag burning really just another way to actually torch the Constitution? A conversation with Georgetown law professor David Cole on the backside of Hour 2. In our third hour, we will go inside the new book, How to Be a Good Leader When You've Never Had One, The Blueprint for Modern Leadership. The book's author, Mick Hunt, host of the very popular podcast, Mick Unplugged, will be our guest today in Hour 3. But in this first hour, let's have a conversation with Dr. Daniel Black, professor of African American Studies at Clark Atlanta University. Dr. Black, it's good to have you back.
What's going on, Transformer? Glad to be here, man.
It's good to hear your voice. I have never been called a Transformer, but I like that. I received that. Tavis.
Absolutely.
Matter of fact, that may be my new boxing name, Tavis the Transformer. I like that.
Yes,
I like
sir.
That. I like
yes,
that.
sir.
Okay. Speaking of boxing, what a great fight that was this weekend. Terrence Crawford did his thing, and I ain't mad at Bud. Again, delighted to have Dr. Black on this program. If you recognize the name or trying to figure out why you know the name, if you listen to the voice, for those listening in L.A., or for that matter around the world, to KBLA, my home station in L.A., you heard him We asked him to voice a promo for us a while ago. We ran that thing because y'all loved it so much. We ran it. And we played on this theme that he used in his amazing commencement address at Clark Atlanta a couple of years ago now. Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Here they come, y'all. Here they come.
Yes, sir.
That was Dr. Daniel Black at the Clark Atlanta University commencement, and the voice you heard on that promo here on KBLA some months back. So we, again, are delighted to be in conversation with Dr. Black. Why Dr. Black? Glad you asked, because I couldn't think of anybody better to have on today to talk about a number of things, starting with what we all were just chagrined by, and chagrin probably not a strong enough word, a troubling story last week that was breaking while I was on the air. The first word I got of it was from my niece. I have a niece right now at Hampton University, so word came from her that they were on lockdown at Hampton, and then by the time I got to the end of the show, that was in the first hour, as I recall last week. By the time I got to the end of hour 3, there were almost a dozen of these HBCUs, at least 10, that were on lockdown for these terroristic threats that were being called into these HBCUs. Now, many people have asked me, over the weekend, have asked me, what was that about? And I've been reading, trying to understand this myself, Dr. Black, and it seems to me that those threats against those HBCUs, aside from the obvious, it's just the way white supremacy works. We can start and stop there. But what I've been reading is that the terroristic threats and these calls to these HBCUs was a response to us, and by us, I'm using the word us in air quotes, the left, black folk, us killing Charlie Kirk. We know that now was not the case. We didn't do it. But an immediate response to, you got us and we're going to threaten y'all. That was one thing that I've read. The other thing I read is that this is a response to that white girl, the Ukrainian sister who was killed in transit with the brother who clearly had some mental issues and just jumped up and killed her. And so I've read, you ain't going to kill us. And get away with it. And so I don't know what animates. I don't know what the backstory to these threats were, but I wanted to just set the frame for what I've been reading, trying to get a sense of why this happened and why then and why out of no. I mean, what was that about? Black folk ain't got nothing to do with this. We mind our own business.
That's right.
And they're calling.
And the truth of the matter, Brother Tavis, is that what this really is about is America's absolute love affair, almost pornographic love affair with violence.
Hold that thought.
That's really what this is about.
Hold that thought. I knew it wouldn't take long, man. His first comment has set this hour off. America's almost pornographic love affair with violence. That's where we're going to start this conversation. Glad I got him for the hour. You're listening to Dr. Daniel Black on Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
You hear that? That's Mike sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. That's because Mike was smart this time. He took ZQL Ultra to fall asleep fast, stay asleep longer, and get the deeply restorative sleep he needs. So now he wakes up refreshed and ready to conquer Mondays.
Let's do this Monday.
ZQL Ultra. Not for colds, just for sleep. Really great sleep. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Serving in the military requires great sacrifices, not just for one's country, but also for one's family. Not surprisingly, divorce for soldiers is especially difficult, and it raises a number of challenges that are peculiar to military divorce, things such as deployments, relocation, retirement benefits. These issues can be complicated. So if you're a soldier facing such challenges, go to CordellCordell.com.
1455 Frazee, San Diego. CordellCordell.com.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Dr. Daniel Black. I want to play a clip for you. Before I do that, though, I can't jump to this clip before I get Dr. Black, at least to take a few moments here to unpack that phrase that he uttered a moment ago, that what we saw last week with regard to these terroristic threats on all these HBCU campuses had to do with America's almost pornographic love affair with violence. So before I play this clip, Dr. Black, unpack that for me.
Yes. See, the truth of the matter is that this country literally was founded upon violence. What most Americans have never done is to understand that the violence against Black and brown people that served as the very economic basis of America's wealth, that violence would not be obedient. What I mean by that is when you extract violence and when you perform that against someone else, you cannot invite violence and it doesn't at some point spend the night at your house also. Violence is not one-dimensional and it is not obedient. It will absolutely come, but violence is absolutely jealous. It will consume anything and everything. And just because you perform it against another people for however long, at some point it's going to visit you also. And the thing that I think is so absolutely important is from childhood shootings, from school shootings in this country, and still we cannot get laws against certain people having guns. Still, we can't get gun redemption in this country, right? In terms of laws, etc. But this is because what folks know in America, and it is true, and that is, in order to maintain excess, you have got to take it from somebody. And in order to, because the universe does not produce in excess, the universe produces insufficiency. If somebody has excess, it's because somebody else has less. And violence is the means by which you upset that balance so that somebody else can have excess and feel good about it. And so this notion of the murder of Charlie Kirk, what all of us are very clear about is it is a tragedy when anybody is murdered. Of course it is. Absolutely it is. And the notion that people begin to associate any of this directly or indirectly with Black people is the most laughable thing I've ever heard of ever. Because Black people have had the right to kill folks from the time we arrived in this country. And yet we didn't take it. If you want to ever accuse somebody of killing white folks publicly, Black people should be the last people you consider. Because when we had every right, we said, no, we're going to take the moral high ground. And so what we have to understand is this notion of the killing of George Floyd, the killing of Ahmaud Arbery, the killing of Breonna Taylor, the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. What ended up happening is violence got hungry for some other flesh also.
Dr. Black has already set it off. I'm scribbling as fast as I can. The first thing that jumps out at me, I'm going to wrestle with this for the rest of the day, and that is this notion of sufficiency versus excess.
That's right.
That the way God created this planet, designed this planet, was for everything to be created sufficiently. And when we get into the point of excess, you're right. You take him from somebody.
That's right.
If you try to live in excess, that's the first thought. That thing just resonated with me. The second thought I had, Cornel West is coming up at the top of the second hour, as he does every Monday and Thursday on this program. And Dr. West, echoing what Dr. Black just said, these two brilliant black academics. Dr. West said this many years ago. I've never forgotten it. Dr. West, in a speech once, said that when Negroes walk into the room, white folk ought to just give us a standing ovation. When we walk in the room, just give Negroes a standing ovation, because anywhere else on the globe, people who have been so maltreated would have created their own version of Al-Qaeda. And black folk, to Dr. Black's point, have never done that. It speaks to who we are at our best. You can go straight to South Africa, right? You know where I'm going, Dr. Black. After apartheid, what did they establish? The Truth and Reconciliation Commission. They did not in South Africa do to the white folk what the good white folk had done to them. That's not to suggest that black folk are perfect or pristine or better than anybody else that God created. But it does show the way we show up just a little bit differently than the way others show up. The other point that I thought about when Dr. Black was talking was when he made this point about sufficiency and excess, and more to the point, laid out how you can engage in violence, you can't invite it in, you can't invite it into your behavior and not expect it to spend the night at your house at some point. If you act violently, violence is going to be visited upon you. Put another way, violence begets violence. Pause for a second. He didn't say it as eloquently as Dr. Black did, and none of us can. Few of us can be as eloquent as he is. But that's exactly what Matthew Dowd said the other day on MSNBC. That if you behave violently, if you play in this stuff, if you trade in this stuff, it's going to come back on you. Now, I can assure you that Dr. Black is not going to be fired from being a contributor to this program. I'm not going to cancel him now for the rest of the hour because he just told the truth. But that's what happened to Matthew Dowd, and MSNBC fired him for essentially saying the same thing that you just heard Dr. Black utter on this program. Speaking of the media, I want to play, this is going to take about 2 minutes here, but I think it's worth it. I don't normally play clips this long, but I want to play this because for those who have been online, you've seen a lot of what Charlie Kirk has had to say. For those who are just catching up to this story, perhaps you don't know who Charlie Kirk really is and the kinds of things that he has said that do not, to my mind, justify receiving the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Certainly don't justify flags flying at half staff. That's a bunch of nonsense as far as I'm concerned. But take a listen to Charlie Kirk in his own words. And here's the question I want to ask yourself, speaking of Matthew Dowd and the media. I want you to ask yourself why you're not hearing any of this reporting in the mainstream media. Why is corporate media, the New York Times, the major networks, the Washington Post, why are they not reporting this stuff that Charlie Kirk traded in every day of his life? Why are you not hearing this? Why is the only place you're hearing this on independent media or on the internet? Why is the media not reporting this? This is what I want you to think about as you listen. Take it away, Miles.
Comparing abortion to the Holocaust.
Absolutely, I am. In fact, it's worse. It's worse. Were these blacks trying to go rob her? Happening all the time in urban America. Prowling blacks go around for fun to go target white people. That's a fact. Black crime is a major issue in our country. Why are you pushing criminal justice reform exactly? Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson, they're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Now, the southern border is, of course, the great replacement. They're trying to replace us demographically. They're trying to make the country less white. It is an anti-white agenda. If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. Taylor Swift is now engaged to Travis Kelce. This is something that I hope will make Taylor Swift more conservative. Reject feminism. Submit to your husband, Taylor. You're not in charge.
America was at its peak
when we halted immigration for 40 years and we dropped our foreign-born percentage to its lowest level ever. Miss Rachel, you quote Leviticus 19, love your neighbor as yourself. The chapter before affirms God's perfect law when it comes to sexual matters. In Leviticus 18 is that thou shalt lay with another man shall be stoned to death. Can we get that picture up, Ryan, of that Marvel's Avenger team? Now, I don't know who the person is on the left. Is the person on the left that came and did the interview with Joe? The TikTok? Your government is being run by freaks. It's like immediately I have like a flashback to a country where weren't able to do Bud Light commercials. What does being trans even mean? Is that even a real thing? It means you need therapy. We must ban trans-affirming care the entire country. I do think that there is a direct correlation between someone's testosterone and their politics. On young men, the lower their testosterone, the more likely they are to be Democratic.
So if you had a daughter and she was 10 and she got raped, and she was going to give birth and she would, and she was going to give birth and she was going to live, would you want her to go through that and carry her baby?
That's awfully graphic.
It's a real life scenario that happens to many people.
The answer is yes, the baby would be delivered. When blacks in America did not have the same rights they had today, they were less murderous, there was less break-ins. Why is that?
So I'm sorry, are you trying to say that blacks thrive under subjugation?
No, I'm not. I'm saying I'm asking you the question. The data shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad, it was evil, but what happened? Something changed. I'm done talking about Epstein for the time being. I'm going to trust my friends in the administration.
I want to just give you a sense of some of the stuff that Charlie, that doesn't even do justice to his body of work, if I can use that phrase. But I want you to be clear about this debate, about this conversation, about the way that he is being celebrated from the White House on down. I mentioned Matthew Dowd being fired at MSNBC. It's not just Matthew Dowd. Karen Attia, a black reporter, a black columnist for the Washington Post, a sister, has also been fired. And here's what she was fired for, Dr. Black, and I turn back to you. She posted a couple messages, and for this, the Washington Post fired her. Let me read the messages, though, that got her fired. Quote, part of what keeps America so violent is the insistence that people perform care, empty goodness, and absolution for white men who espouse hatred and violence. She went on to say that refusing to tear my clothes and smear ashes on my face in performative mourning for a white man that espoused violence is not the same as violence. For those comments, she was fired, Dr. Black. What do you make of the way that the mainstream media is literally firing noted journalists and commentators for just speaking truth? And what do you make of the fact that aside from certain spaces on the internet or certain independent media outlets, the media is not, the so-called liberal media is not reporting this part of Charlie Kirk's background. It ain't just part of, this is what he traded in every day. I digress. The mic is yours.
I'm going to say just two things very quickly. And I think this is so important to say. Number one, the media wants to absolutely, positively incarcerate Black grief. Meaning they want Black people, literally, they want to pimp our spiritual sensitivities. In other words, what the media wants to do is to get Black people to at least bow down to white supremacy in its death. If we wouldn't bow down in life, at least do it in its destruction. Because we are supposed to be, then and now, we're supposed to be the slaves to white supremacy. And so this notion that, oh my God, this white man was killed, and he was killed. And again, I think it's tragic to kill anybody. But what you will not make me do, you cannot colonize my mourning. You can't make me bow at the feet of somebody who thought nothing about me, who thought that my very being was inferior. You cannot make me do that. You cannot make me do that. The fact that he was murdered does not mean that you can make me go to my God to pray for his soul in eternity. You cannot. You absolutely cannot. But why do they think they can? Because ultimately, what they believe is that Black people are really only figments of white imagination. And so really how we move and how we function is supposed to be a manifestation of whatever would exalt their agenda. And what this sister was saying, and she's absolutely correct, you can't make me do that. You cannot make me do that. And I'm not going to do that. See, people are so used to Black people having these responses, right? That nurture, if you will, their sensibility, however evil they might be. You know, I remember back when the white dude killed our brothers and sisters, you know, in Charleston, you know, in the church.
Dylan Roof was his name.
Dylan Roof. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And immediately, Black folks, you know, we forgive him. We forgive him.
Oh yeah.
See, that act, seemingly a public forgiveness, is the expectation of white supremacy. That's the expectation from white supremacy concerning any destruction of whiteness, because they believe that the destruction of whiteness ought to trouble Black consciousness. And what people are saying now is it does not. It does not. It really never have. But now we don't have to act like it does, because the days of cooning are over.
This is why I love Dr. Black. I can't even keep up. They want to incarcerate Black grief.
Yes.
You cannot colonize my mourning.
No.
Oh, I love me some Daniel Black. I got 90 seconds here now. We got the rest of the hour. Tell me how you processed being a graduate of an HBCU, Clark Atlanta, now being a professor at that institution, Clark Atlanta, having given the commencement speech. But you're on a Black campus, and you saw all these Black campuses shutting down across the country last week. How did you process that in 60 seconds?
In fact, Clark was one of them.
Yes.
In fact, we were shut down for 4 hours.
That's right.
And we were all in the same classroom. And I'm going to tell you exactly how I responded to it. I taught for 4 hours straight. I never class was supposed to end at 11:50, and we went all the way to 2:00. I said, you all, if we're locked in a room, if Black kids are locked in a room with a professor, what you're supposed to get is knowledge unquenchable. What you're supposed to get is that which would absolutely fill you up for the next 2 or 3 months. We're not going to sit here in fear. We're not going to do that. That would be a misuse of this. And that would be a misunderstanding of the spiritual lesson of why we're in this room. So I taught I probably covered 4 or 5 lessons. Right, on the syllabus, so that by the time we left there, their mind wasn't on what was happening inside, but on the internal transformation.
Ooh, he just kept on teaching. I love it. Glad we got Dr. Daniel Black for the rest of the hour. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Reverend Al Sharpton is condemning the killing of Charlie Kirk, calling it a dangerous escalation of political violence. On MSNBC, Sharpton said America is morally broken.
I think what is broken is we're defining morality based on who the mortal is, rather than what the morality is.
He urged leaders to lower the temperature, hold Trump accountable, and pass laws to protect communities. A white man in Newport, North Carolina is facing federal charges after threatening to shoot up a Black preschool online. Zachary Charles Newell admitted to posting the racist threats and was taken into FBI custody. He could face up to 5 years in prison. And Monique says she's not backing down from her feud with Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey. She says they blackballed her and cost her work. In a social media post, Monique says she's not bitter, but wrong is wrong and right is right. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Do you really know what's in your tap water? LifeSource believes your water should support your health, not work against it. Upgrade your water with a LifeSource Whole House Water System during September's Double Dip promo. Call 800-WATER-99 or visit LifeSourceWater.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Impressive victory for the Rams Sunday at Tennessee. The Rams improved to 2-0 with a dominant 33-19 win. 5 sacks for the Rams defense. Quarterback Matthew Stafford had a strong day with 298 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. The Chargers are in Vegas tonight to take on the Raiders. 7 p.m. kickoff on ESPN. The UCLA administration has seen enough. After only 15 games as UCLA's head coach, Deshaun Foster was fired Sunday morning after the Bruins' 0-3 start this season. The 35-10 loss at home to New Mexico Friday night was the last straw for the administration. New Mexico was picked to finish 11th in the Mountain West Conference. Foster was 5-10 in his short role as head coach. Bruins assistant Tim Skipper will be the interim coach the rest of the season. The Dodgers beat San Francisco 10-2. They lead San Diego by 2.5 in the NL West. West. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
I'm Tavis Smiley. Our guest in this hour, delighted to have him, is Dr. Daniel Black, Professor of African American Studies at Clark Atlanta University. And in case you just tuned in, you have missed a fire first half hour. All I can do is encourage you to check out the podcast later tonight when it gets posted. But you're going to want to hear, if you're just tuning in now, what you've missed in this first half hour. He's been dropping bars like nobody's business. I'll just give you a couple of them. He has talked in this half hour, in this hour, about sufficiency versus excess and how the universe delivers sufficiently. But when people start or want to engage in excess, they got to take it from somebody. He talked about the almost pornographic love affair that America has with violence. He's talked about how others attempt to colonize our mourning, and we will not allow that to happen. He talked about others trying to incarcerate black grief. He said so much in this hour, as he always does. So if you're just now being introduced to Dr. Daniel Black, you need to look him up and start following him, because he does this all the time. And I was just heartened to hear when I asked him about being on lockdown last week at Clark Atlanta University that he taught for 4 hours. The school is locked down, and they were not going to waste that good time. And they just went in his classroom. And I can only imagine, to your point, Dr. Black, when those students left, their mind was on what you had been discussing that day and not so much being gripped by fear. So I'm glad you used that time so wisely, good brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We had a great time in class. And of course, we were being cognizant of what was going on. And of course, we were listening to the warnings and staying in place and staying safe. But what I told them is that Black people in America have been under duress and under stress since our arrival. If duress means that we stop the project of forward movement, right, we'd never go anywhere, anytime. Everything we've ever done in America as Black people has been under duress.
Dr.
So
Black,
the notion
go ahead, Dr. Black.
Yeah. So the notion that being under duress means freeze, that's the trick of the enemy. What duress means is look around, right? Look around and see what can still happen, even though trauma is in the making.
Yeah. Finish your point, Dr. Black. I'm sorry, I was talking to my producer. I didn't mean to come through. I didn't mean to bleed through on the air like that. Finish your point. I'm sorry, sir.
No, I was saying that I think it's so important for us to understand how duress has never been an invitation for Black people to stop. We were under duress on campus last week for the 4 hours. Absolutely. But that does not mean that the project doesn't continue. It does not mean the agenda doesn't move forward. When Harriet Tubman was trying to get folks to freedom, right, she was under duress.
Mm-hmm.
But that don't mean don't run. Come on now.
Under duress does not mean don't run.
It does not mean don't run.
Yeah. What's your sense of how we handle those Black folk? And I'm not being funny about this at all. This is a serious and legitimate question. The point has been made in a number of places that there are some people of color, indeed some Black people, born of their Christology, and you know where I'm going here. Born of their Christology. When I played that clip of Charlie Kirk in his own words earlier, I could hear, and you could hear, both of us had that Pentecostal background. We know we could hear it. There were parts in that clip of the best of Charlie Kirk, if you will. There were parts in there that I could pull out that you and I both know that a bunch of Black Christians agree with.
Yes.
And I've been in more conversations than I can count, again, over the last week or so now.
Yes.
With people who agree with some of what Charlie Kirk was espousing, again, born of their Christology.
Sure.
We obviously know that there were too many Black people who supported Donald Trump this last time around, and I've made the point more than once on this program that every time he has run, 3 times now, the number of Black people voting for him has gone up every time. Yes. Now, it's nothing compared to Black people who supported Biden and Harris and all that stuff, but the point is that Donald Trump, as we all know, has some level of support inside of Black America.
Yes.
What do we say, without being dismissive, without being rude, what do we say to those persons who, even in a moment like this, are in a frame of understanding or being sympathetic to the situation of Charlie Kirk, if any of that makes sense? I'm trying to tread carefully here because I'm not trying to offend them with my question. It's all yours. You got it. Take it away.
Yes. The first problem is, Tavis, we need to give white people and white supremacy back their God. See, as long as we're following their God, we're going to ultimately want their life. We're going to ultimately want their being. We're going to ultimately want the mansions they live in. And as long as we want the mansions they live in, we'll try to figure out how in the world can I have the mansion, but I don't want to enslave nobody else, without understanding that they have the mansion because they enslaved somebody else. And the other problem is, our problem is that we keep imagining God as a capitalist. We keep imagining God as a plantation owner. How do we know? Streets of gold, pearly gates. Come on, somebody. As if God really cares for any of that foolishness. But as long as we imagine it that way, we think part of our inheritance, we think part of what we deserve is actually materiality. When God's abundance was never anything material. Abundant life was an issue that what God was promising you was peace of mind. The universe will give you all you need in terms of sustaining you from one day to the next. I'm saying this because the dream of Black America has been, can I get a White House in black? But the problem is not just the house itself, but it's how it's framed. And so many of us have a foot in white supremacy, just a foot in, because no, I'm not calling nobody niggas, and I'm not doing all of that, and I don't hate white people. But I do want the life they have. I want the lifestyle. I want my child to have the same opportunities. And I'm gonna be careful and tell you this. I don't want my child to have the same opportunity as most white kids, because most white kids have the opportunity to destroy and to deceive. I want my child not to even have the option to do it. And so that's what messes us up. What messes us up is in Christology, right? We have inherited, and I'm gonna say that carefully, we have inherited an ideology that makes us praise and run after the dream of a God who absolutely sits up on a hill and got cattle on 1,000 hills. We're talking about God in nothing but materialistic terms. But the truth of the matter is what messes up most people is they brought healers from Africa, not Christians. So when they enslaved healers, when we got here, what we wanted to do was heal people, even if they were ugly people, even if they were nasty people. What our grandmothers taught us is, listen, sweetie, if you can't say nothing nice, don't say nothing at all. They didn't just say that about Black people. They said it about white ones too. In other words, the problem here is the culture, not the people. The problem is not white people, it's white supremacy, which is not the same thing as a person. Black self-hatred is not a person. It is an existence. It's an institution of being. But what most people don't realize very quickly, Brother Tavis, is this. The cultures are what's at clash. For example, when they were lynching African people, sometimes they let schools out in the South. They had crowds of people to come and watch the lynching of our ancestors. Tavis, if you and I were going to destroy a white person, and every human being has the capability to do it, but if we were going to destroy a white person, you couldn't invite your grandmama and she come.
That's it. Your grandmama ain't coming to see that.
She's not coming to that.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
Because spiritually, she does not agree.
That's right.
That's a deep distinction that most people have never thought of. We could not destroy white flesh publicly, and Black culture celebrated.
Stop there 1 second. I just need to pause on that. I need to pause and process that. I suspect you're right. I got a really, really bright audience, but I suspect there are many who have never thought about it quite in those terms. If we were going to do something like that, you couldn't get a gathering of our big mamas to stand around and watch that nonsense. They wouldn't tolerate that. They just wouldn't. But to your point, they stood around and did it in Little Rock when they were desegregating Central High School. They did it to Ruby Bridges when she was desegregating schools in New Orleans. And I take his point. And what's hit me just now in this moment is that today is the anniversary, the commemoration of the bombing of the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, or as they called it, Bombingham, Alabama. It was, in fact, 62 years ago today that they murdered those 4 precious little girls in the 16th Street Baptist Church. How's that for timing, given what we're dealing with right now in the broader society, and how's that for timing, given what Dr. Black just had to say? I want to ask him to link those two things up. This conversation we're having right now, on the 62nd year since the bombing of those 4 little girls in that 16th Street Baptist Church, just days after, the March on Washington, where King is talking about, I have a dream. Pause for a second. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
From Leimert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nicolai Corte. Let's preserve Black land stories before they're lost forever. I want to personally invite you to be a part of something historic. As journalist in residence for the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project, I've joined forces with powerhouse attorney and social justice champion George Fothery, the man who helped make history by delivering justice to the Bruce family in Manhattan Beach, securing the first known return of land unjustly taken from Black owners by a local government. That victory was monumental, but it was just the beginning. For generations, Black families have acquired land through grit, faith, and determination, only to lose it through violence, legal loopholes, forced sales, and systematic racism. What's been taken goes far beyond dirt and deeds. It's the erasure of wealth, identity, and legacy. That's why we've launched the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project, a national effort to collect, protect, and preserve the stories of Black land lost before they're buried, forgotten, or erased altogether. Because there's power in telling Black stories, there is resistance in remembering, and there's justice in being seen and heard. This is where you come in. We're inviting you to be a part of this historic Black narrative archive. If you or someone you know has experienced land loss, displacement, or forced property sales, your story deserves to be heard and remembered. Your story belongs in this archive. Your truth matters not just to your family, but to our collective future. Visit blacklandlost.org today. Fill out our simple intake form and add your voice to the National Archive of Remembrance, Resilience, and Reckoning. Let's make these stories live on, not in whispers, but on the record. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nicolai Corte, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up.
Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
I think it's more than irony, Dr. Black, that we happen to be having this conversation with you, kicking us off in this first hour. 62 years to the day after they killed those 4 precious Black girls in that 16th Street Baptist Church. But what say you, sir?
I say 2 things, Tavis. Number 1, and I think this is so important and so powerful. I don't remember, now I could be wrong, but I don't remember the day when flags were at half staff for any one of those 4 girls.
Hello.
I don't remember that day. And somehow, the entire nation wants to bow down at the death of one white man when the death of 4 Black girls, the nation never acknowledged as a sacred and a sacrosanct moment. The devil is a liar. No, sir. No, sir. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And the reason this is important is because until Black life becomes significant in the American imagination, this rumbling of Black discontent is going to continue, and it's going to get louder, and it's going to get louder, and it's going to get louder. Because the truth of the matter is all life is sacred, which Black people have always known and demonstrated. All Black, listen, there are Black people, Tavis, who left plantations, and when plantation masters died, they went back to the funeral. Lord have mercy, help me today, God. But why? Because what Black people understood is, regardless of the evil on this planet, when one faces God face to face, God is going to ask about the excellence of your character, regardless of the evil you endured. regardless of the evil you endure, God is going to ask you about the excellence of your character. Black folks say, listen, if you can't say nothing good, don't say nothing at all. These proverbs proliferate in the Black community. And they proliferate because ultimately Black people were trying to teach young Black children, do not trade your character, because you meet people who hate you, who despise you, who don't like you, who are willing to kill you. Because if you do that, the only excellence you will ever know is what you're looking at. You'll never know God. You cannot see God face to face if you cannot withstand ugliness and nastiness and still hold on to your good name.
Our remaining moments.
Black people believe that.
No, we do believe it to our core. Our remaining moments with Dr. Daniel Black when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley.
Are you ready to be a part of the conversation that will help shape our nation's future? Get ready to join us for the Left Coast Forum, Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech, where progressive voices will come together to tackle the issues that matter most to working families across Los Angeles and beyond. From economic justice to climate action, from healthcare to housing, we're bringing together the brightest minds and most passionate advocates for real solutions and real change. With workshops, 2 major keynote addresses, and a closing reception with great music and good food. It's the Left Coast Forum, where your voice matters and your ideas take action. Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the LA Progressive. The future won't wait, and neither should you. Mark your calendar now to be there and be heard. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
This is Tavis Smiley, and because I'm Tavis Smiley, sometimes I can do things, not often, but sometimes I can do things I want to do just because I want to do them. Somewhere I read, where there are 2 or 3 gathered, there I will be in the midst of them. So let's just add another to the twosome right now. Dr. Black, say hello, Dr. Cornel West.
My great elder, how are you, sir?
My dear brother, man, you holding up the bloodstained banner in a mighty way. Clark, Atlanta, so blessed to have you. I know you're blessed to be there, but I love you. I respect you, my brother.
Man, I love and respect you. And of course, I told you, my best friend in college roommate in grad school was Eddie Glaw. So we talk about you all the time, man.
I don't know, the one and only brother Eddie Glaw himself out of Mississippi.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, I tremble in your presence, Elder, and I thank you for who you are, and I thank you for blazing the path. It's easier to walk because you walk that way.
But brother, you walking in a mighty way, though, man. Your courage, your compassion, your truth-seeking, your truth-telling, and most importantly, you love the people, and the love that was poured into you by Big Mama and all the others is at work in the love you have for others. That's a beautiful thing, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I receive it humbly, Elder. Thank you tremendously.
Doc, we're gonna segue, of course, to you in just a few minutes here at the top of the hour, as we always do on Mondays and Thursdays. But I wanted to just get you on right quick because I am curious as to your thoughts. We were talking to Dr. Black a moment ago about what it means to be in this particular and peculiar American moment, maybe not so peculiar given the way America has always shown up, but in this particular moment, what it means to be having these conversations on this day, 62 years to the day of them killing those 4 little precious girls in that Baptist church in Birmingham.
Well, I think Brother Black, the distinguished Professor Black, he laid it out. He started with the incarceration of the grief. He started with violence itself being as integral and constitutive of America as apple pie and baseball and jazz and blues. And the question is, how do we fortify ourselves so that we create moments of interruption and disruption so that our love, our concern for others, our quest for justice can create some spaces that push back those dominant tendencies of the hatred and the greed and the violence. And he laid it out in a beautiful way. I was listening to every word and was deeply moved by what he had to say.
Yeah. Dr. Black, this is your conversation, and we give you the last word. In the 2 minutes I have, I yield it to the professor from Clark, Atlanta. What's your advice to all of us? I'm talking about black folk in particular now, about how we navigate this very tricky and thorny moment that we are in right now.
Yes, I think that, number one, I think we go back to the hush harbors. I think the hush harbors were literally and metaphorically the place where black thought originated in this land, where black strategy happened. And I think we get back to the hush harbors because I think there's some strategizing we need to do for our own survival. There's some strategizing we need to do for our own spiritual reclamation. And I think it is time that we have some of those private conversations. And 2, I think we rebirth the freedom schools. We need freedom schools on Saturday morning, and it should not be optional for black kids. Every church I know is empty on Saturday morning from 9 to noon. We need to borrow these spaces, borrow these land masses, and get our children together and teach them the excellence and the majesty of who we are as black people in this country. We need to stop asking, thinking, waiting, praying, hoping the schools are going to do it. It's not even the school's job. That would be my vote.
We'll leave it there. Always honored to have Dr. Daniel Black on this program, Professor of African American Studies at Clark Atlanta University. Dr. Black, thank you, sir, for this first hour. You set us off in the right way. You got us out the blocks, and we're going to pass the baton to Dr. West here in just a second, sir. But thank you for your time.
It is nothing but an honor. And Dr. West, I'm listening to every word, brother. Come on with it.
Brother, I salute you. And God bless you and your loved ones, brother. You stay strong, man.
I appreciate it. I love both you gentlemen. Thank you.
Love you back. Dr. West is going to come on with it after we hear his walk-on song. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Reverend Al Sharpton is condemning the killing of Charlie Kirk, calling it a dangerous escalation of political violence. On MSNBC, Sharpton said America is morally broken.
I think what is broken is we're defining morality based on who the mortal is rather than what the morality is.
He urged leaders to lower the temperature, hold Trump accountable, and pass laws to protect communities. A white man in Newport, North Carolina is facing federal charges after threatening to shoot up a black preschool online. Zachary Charles Newell admitted to posting the racist threats and was taken into FBI custody. He could face up to 5 years in prison. And Monique says she's not backing down from her feud with Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey. She says they blackballed her and cost her work. In a social media post, Monique says she's not bitter, but wrong is wrong and right is right. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Do you really know what's in your tap water? LifeSource believes your water should support your health, not work against it. Upgrade your water with a LifeSource Whole House Water System during September's Double Dip promo. Call 800-WATER-99 or visit LifeSourceWater.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Impressive victory for the Rams Sunday at Tennessee. The Rams improved to 2-0 with a dominant 33-19 win. 5 sacks for the Rams defense. Quarterback Matthew Stafford had a strong day with 298 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. The Chargers are in Vegas tonight to take on the Raiders. 7 p.m. kickoff on ESPN. The UCLA administration has seen enough. After only 15 games as UCLA's head coach, Deshaun Foster was fired Sunday morning after the Bruins' 0-3 start this season. The 35-10 loss at home to New Mexico Friday night was the